Hey, church family. When you think about your children or a loved one, what's the first thing that comes to mind? As Matthew 17 opens, an interesting scene unfolds. Jesus takes his three closest friends, Peter, James, and John, to the top of a high mountain. And when they reach the top, Jesus is transfigured. His face shines like the sun, and his clothes become white as light. And if that's not a shock enough, Moses and Elijah, the two most prominent figures in all of the Old Testament, appear and begin talking with Jesus. And then a bright cloud overshadows them all, and God the Father speaks. And in verse 5, God the Father tells us what he thinks about his Son, Jesus. He says, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." When God thinks about Jesus, he thinks these things. I love Jesus. Jesus is my Son, and Jesus is well pleasing to me. Now, as believers, we are also called sons and daughters of God. When God thinks about you, when God thinks about me, what do you think comes to his mind? Now, before you ponder that too much, let me remind you that as believers, we are in Christ, and Christ is in us. And when God looks at us, he sees the righteousness of his own Son, Jesus Christ. So when we are abiding in Christ and Christ is abiding in us, God looks at us and he thinks, I love him. I love her. He is my son. She is my daughter. And because of his faith and her faith in Jesus, he and she is pleasing to me. God added one instruction at the end of his statement. He said that we are to listen to Christ. That means that yes, we are to listen to all that Christ commands us to do. But it also means that we are to listen to and believe what Christ says about who we are in him. Enjoy your time with Jesus today.